reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. MMO Reporter's PAX Prime coverage is brought to you by GoDaddy. Use the coupon code MM199 to get your next domain for only $1.99. Hey everybody, Chris here from MMO Reporter, and we are once again visiting with SOE. This time we're going to take a look at H1Z1. Really excited to see the game. Can you introduce yourself and let us know your position on the team?
Sure, I'm Jimmy Whisenhunt. I'm a senior game designer on the project.
Awesome. So we're going to take a look at the game right now. You're going to show us off some of the different aspects of it. So let's cut to that right now and take a look at what H1Z1 has to offer.
So we're on a fresh spawn right now. So we just suicided my character that actually had a gun. I'm a little upset about that. But so we fresh spawn right now. We're starting off in the middle of the wilderness, kind of Pacific Northwest. And actually we just got seasons in, so you'll see a little bit of snow here. But I started off with an axe and a flashlight and some flares. Now, this is actually changing. We're removing the axe. For now, we're lucky enough to have one, so we can show a little bit of the crafting. But coming into early access, we're actually starting just with fists, so you'll be, you know, Mike Tyson with some zombies, which actually created a lot more fun experience because you end up scavenging more rather than just jumping straight in and focusing on crafting, which you still can do. You just need to find the axe first. But it gave those players an opportunity who wanted to not worry about crafting, that were excited about finding their first crowbar or their first baseball bat and all that stuff. A little more progression. So that was good. I'm going to go ahead and actually run straight up this tree here and chop it down and make Mr. Zombie over here really mad, apparently. Only if this tree could fall on him right there. I'll kill him real quick. So one of the big focuses of our game was we wanted to make sure that everything had consequence. There's definitely something to be said about every action of the game. Now, I just chopped down a tree and I made a lot of noise. That's a little corny, that can be fixed. But as you do things like chop down a tree, if I were to shoot a gun right now, I'm drawing in things that have interest. Our AI in our game doesn't just attack or just see and run at you. They all have wants and needs, smell, they can hear things, they can see things. So before the player was even introduced and a huge concern of the game, we had a living ecosystem that goes after each other and contains itself. So bears, they just say, leave me alone. They'll eat you if you don't. Wolves, they're hungry. They don't like zombies. They'll try to avoid them. They will defend themselves if they have to. Deer, they try to run. They're one of the prey animals in the game, but everything is trying to eat them, basically. Players are kind of in the same boat. Players can defend themselves a little bit better. So that was really exciting in this game, was watching that come along. Every once in a while as we run through here, you may see a wolf chasing a pack of deer, or wolves chasing down a player even. This is a build here at PAX, so guys on the floor, I've actually seen it a couple different times we've been playing. We love scaring them a little bit as we're running around. We try not to kill them unless they shoot at us first, but so the accessibility was really important to us because in this genre, it's about anxiety and survival and being attached to who you are as a player in the game. A lot of people role play in this genre. So, oh my God. Real quick, let me kill this guy. So one of the big things is if I have an axe, games have taught me over the years, if I have an axe and there's a tree, I can't just go hit the tree and knock it down. We want that to make sense. If I see a car in the world and I was actually in the apocalypse, I would probably go rifling through every car I found until I found what I needed. And we wanted to make sure that that was possible. So if I actually run up to any of these, I can search what may be in the glove box and everything else in a pretty easy way. As you run through here, you'll find if you're in trouble running from a player, from zombies, or from wolves, or whatever it happens to be, you'll find axes and the like in the backs of trucks and like actually laying out. You won't find them inside of these like containers that they have, because that would be a little crazy. You don't want to have to, oh my God, a backpack. Backpacks are very important in our game for this reason, lots of space. But if you're in trouble, you don't want to have to go rifling through things. You actually want to see and identify what's going to help you immediately. You find crafting recipes and bandages and things inside of these cars. So we try to prioritize the things that you'll find first. There's actually a bear. He's just rearing up at us. Let us know to stay away. I'm going to run over this direction so I'm a little bit safer. I'm actually going to rip my shirt off because that's what survivors do. You can take things like your shirt or extra backpacks and hats you find in the world and shred them into cloth. And this is the beginning of our discovery in crafting systems. So if I make a wooden plank out of this, make a wooden stick out of the plank, and I were to combine the cloth and the stick, that'll tell me how to make a bow. The recipes are persistent, so I happen to already know how to make that. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to make a bunch of arrows because I had chopped down the tree, got some logs. It requires sticks and planks to do all the, oh my God.
Have you played it yet on the PS4? Are you as good as I am?
All right, I'm really bad apparently.
I played it on PC.
Let's see if we can kill this guy real quick. So this is kind of your opening system to the game. Arrows and the bow are both, they're breakable. This is something that's not going to last you forever, but you can make several of them. Once you make one, you can continue to do that. You are better off with a gun. But we found that this is it's a great equalizer. So in the survival genre, new players die all the time. They're really cannon fodder. Most people that are geared up, they'll find the player and be like, yeah, let's mess with them a little bit and then shoot him in the head. That's okay. I mean, we don't want to just say, no, you can't do that. What we have done is given easy access to some early on range weapons. They may not last forever, but when you're a guy who spent a week on a character and there's a brand new player in front of you with a bow, if you miss your shot, he very well could not miss his, and he will suddenly have everything you've worked so hard for and you lose it. So there is a consequence to going after these guys. And we talked about the senses of zombies and the wildlife. If you run around shooting and killing players all the time, you are drawing these things to you. You're actually letting them know where you are. So you're creating problems for yourself. But we still allow you to do it. That's not a problem.
You can dig your own grave, so to speak.
You can. And you know what? I will be that guy sometimes. If I need something, I will go out there and do that. I'm a big fan of combat in games. It's actually a lot of what I do. Slidey zombie. I'm trying to get my arrow back, but he won't stop moving. Hey, all right, forget my arrow. That's fine.
So you can loot them to get your arrows back.
You can, yeah. That was also, they also do have their own durabilities, which means if you shoot the same arrow multiple times, eventually it just breaks. Like, I think it's 3 times right now. If it makes contact with hard objects, that arrow's gone. You have to go craft another one. They're fairly easy to make. All the things that you see right now, like as far as these recipes, we're still tuning. I personally, as one of the combat designers, or the lead combat guy, I feel like the arrows are a little too easy, so we'll probably make it a little more difficult. It feels a little too much like infinite ammo right now. So, oh, go ahead.
You mentioned the AI a couple times about the sort of their senses, and there's a lot of what you're saying that sounds very, very familiar to when we talk about the AI for EverQuest Next. Is there a lot of collaboration between the teams on those sorts of systems?
Well, what's cool, like at SOE, we're really big fans of dynamic, like this live experiences, right? So they're using different systems, but it's the same goal in mind. We have very different needs. EQN. As they've talked about the towns and everything, we don't have that same need there. So our systems are more of wants and needs within the ecosystem. So we, like I said, have seen, actually a really good example, E3. We tried really hard to have a consistent demo experience for people so we could run through like the same route, but it was always completely different every time we would spawn. And one of the examples was at the end, there was a group of, I think, like 50 zombies we had, just to kind of show some of the horde mentality and stuff that they can have. And as we got there, we walked up, and I got there just in time to spot them running into the forest. And I realized they chased a deer off. Like, instead of waiting for us, they're like, "Ooh, shiny!" And they just, like, 50 of them went after this one deer. I'm like, why? And those are the kind of experiences we want to create. We've had the opposite experience where you see a deer running out of the forest. You're like, "Ooh, I can hunt this deer." And then you realize it's being chased by a pack of wolves. You're like, "Oh, God," and you have to run. And that's the kind of experience we're really going for. We want things to be different, no matter how many times we revisit the same places. Oh, there's a player! He killed me! Who is this player? That's a guy on the showroom floor. A guy on the showroom floor just killed me. Oh my God. All right. Take 2. No, I'm just kidding.
We now have video proof.
PvP is a thing in our game. So I think I might have already brought it up, but there's actually people on the showroom floor who apparently just opened, and they're already just thirsting for blood. I'm like, yeah, I'll be safe to look in this car. So guys, watch your back. That's all I gotta say. So this game is all about character progression with you as a player. It's not about gaining XP to get better in being a craftsman of some sort, like being a carpenter or anything like that. You're going to discover new recipes. You'll find new items in the game. You can run up with a crowbar and hit a car, and you can get metal bits from that car. And then inside that car, you might find some other ingredients. And you need to combine those together and learn how to make different things. I'm being attacked by a wolf. All right, sorry. I just, so manly. Just punch wolves with my bare hands. So you as a player are going to use initially common sense and later on a little creativity to find some of the puzzles that we as designers have put in the game. You may, and we're also going to be tracking data during early access. So if we find everyone is trying to combine a Coca-Cola with a screwdriver, we're going to try to figure out why and possibly what we could do with that. But we do try to add some things in the game that are difficult to find but still make sense. And we've talked constantly about eventually one day someone could find a grenade and combine that with wolf meat, and that is a zombie attracting explosive. And we want people with this discovery system to come in here and just play all day and try to figure out what these new things are. Because eventually there'll be the wiki articles and all these different things that tell you how to make everything. But this world right now is 64 square kilometers. From there, we'll grow seamlessly, which means new areas that are added will have new things for them to find and craft with. So they'll take old things that they used to be able to make and they know of and try to add new things to that recipe. And sometimes they'll find that we've added something we didn't tell them about. And that's really fun because you can create all kinds of new ways to survive that way.
So it sounds like the crafting system is going to create consumables and weapons. Anything else other than that?
So weapons, just on the weapons front real quick. So the real stamped weapons, as far as like rifles and pistols, you won't be able to craft those. You will be able to make spears and your bows, and I think you can even forge like a cheap machete right now. I say think because we work so quickly. Sometimes I'm like, hey, there's an explosive in the game, or machete. That's awesome. But yes, you'll be able to create food. You'll be able to find sugar in the world with water, boil that with instant coffee and have sugar coffee for some energy. Basically everything you'll need at the basic level to survive, you can craft.
And what about tools to help players band together and to help themselves survive this world?
So we're starting off in early access intentionally with a very vanilla system. So from PlanetSide 2, which is also on the Forge Light engine, we have our outfit, platoon, and squad systems that have a lot of support for showing you where and who you're teamed up with. We're going to try, we could be insane, to go completely without any of that initially because we want to see how players react. We're giving them tools like there's active and passive states. And what that means, if I have a gun and someone comes running up to me and I yell out, hey, friendly, and he says yes, okay, on the count of 3, put your gun down, and they can actually point their guns at the ground instead of just holding them up and not knowing what the intention is. We want these relationships and teamwork to happen more organically if they can. Mm-hmm. So
I was watching Smedley the other day streaming DayZ, and he got himself handcuffed.
I was laughing so hard. I was less than an office away. Like I was right outside his door. I was so tempted to just come walk in and just start laughing at him. Because that just happens. And you know what? That's part of the beauty of the survival genre is you are a player, no matter how horrible or corny your story may be, that's who you are in this game. And you know what was great about that whole experience? Those 2 guys who handcuffed him said, oh, you're a Bambi, aren't you? Like, you're new at this. And they said, I'm sorry, we don't have the key, but you can wiggle out. Yeah. Here's some food and things. We'll see you later. Sorry again. And they left. Yeah. So they didn't kill him.
Yeah, but then he says, I think I left before he managed to wiggle out, but he was wiggling for a while.
It took a long time. But yeah, no, we want to support that sort of gameplay, and we want to bring a lot of depth to it as well. The permanence in this game is huge, and in a lot of survival games right now, you don't see server persistence with character reputation because you can bounce from server to server. We're a true MMO, so that means large scale, a lot of players, big land masses, as well as persistent names. So if you are that guy who runs around all the time being, pardon my French, a douche all the time, you're going to be known as that guy. I mean, they say, that Whisenhunt guy, he handcuffed me and then shot me in the leg and let me bleed out for 30 minutes, and that'll spread. You can't just change your name or hop to another server. You can create new characters on new servers, but all your things on your old character stay where you were. And that's very important to us because you'll also be able to form entire communities. You can build homes right now. You can find a home that pre-exists in the world that was designer placed. You can build a barricade on that window, and you can take that as your own temporarily. It's actually permanently, but I have a feeling someone else will probably eventually tear those things down. And just try to migrate around the zone and find new things and form friends. I have a feeling we'll see wars eventually. That actually scares the crap out of me as a designer because we can always try to plan for those things. Yeah. But we'll never fully know, and that's exciting too. Because the first time that we see a bunch of new players somehow magically become friends and trust each other, and they all create bows and they go like try to siege 4 guys with guns that are in a house, it's fantastic. That's the kind of games to play we want to see.
So, what other sort of MMO elements are in the game? You talked about having the crafting and that persistence and stuff like that. But is there any other staples of the MMO genre that people would recognize in the game?
Well, once again, the biggest thing for us, like MMO, since we're not an MMO RPG, we're a survival game, more of an MMO FPS, but with third person. We didn't go into XP or anything like that. We very much want it to be a player progression thing where you're learning about the game. We want this game to be easy to access for people, and we've worked very hard to make sure that things are intuitive, and the challenges are in what you do in the game. So we don't handhold, we don't really have a lot of patting on the back. It's just things in the game, once you come across the right items or you make the right decisions, you're rewarded for that, and that's exciting, because once you make it to a certain point, you become incredibly attached to what you've done, and you need to make sure you make the right decisions to stay alive.
So you mentioned earlier that you like combat. That's your thing in the game. There's some archetypes that you could say in these survival genres of players. Where do you fit in amongst those archetypes? Would I see you handcuffing someone in a field somewhere?
It depends on who they are and what they've done. I usually am a lone wolf, even in a game like this where there are going to be tons of players. I mean, we at right now can support thousands of players on a map. We probably won't, because we want it to be a certain feeling of isolation. But even in that case, I would probably still be the guy just playing by myself. I like the isolation. I like finding people I don't know. I have some weird thing about being able to almost have a panic attack when someone starts yelling at me in a game and we just get in this confrontation. That's what I like. I haven't really ever been much of a bandit, but I have been known to not trust someone after 5 minutes and shoot them in the back. Yeah. So I don't know. Where does that put me? I'm not sure.
And sort of to end things off here, you've got a very entrenched game that's out there right now in DayZ, and it's something that's really caught on with the community, came kind of out of nowhere and came out and really is now quite a phenomenon. And now you're coming into the same space, and having covered MMOs for a while and have seen an entrenched game out there and other ones come along, what sort of approach are you going to take going into early access and into the launch of the game to make sure that players can see the game and to show off sort of its unique characteristics?
Well, so from the beginning, like this whole project actually just real quick started from R&D. We saw our Forge Light engine, we made PlanetSide 2 on and said, what would be fun to make this? And even towards the end of me being on PlanetSide 2 working in combat, I was already playing the DayZ mod. And we're all fans of that genre. Like, we honestly do stand on the shoulder of giants, but we bring a different experience to the genre. Once again, we are a real MMO. This is something that doesn't exist right now. The persistence, the stability, the security is very important as well, because we will support player ideas in the way of working with the community, but our server code isn't out there for people to reverse engineer and hack our game constantly. So we bring a lot more stability, and for early access, we're setting a lot higher quality bar than what we've seen in EA so far in early access, because this is our first early access, like real true early access game in this genre. And we want to make sure that when we come out, people know that we're very serious about this and that they're not going to run into game-breaking issues throughout the whole process. This is about us developing with the community, not about making the game work. And we hope people recognize that.
It was really fun to see, first of all, you get killed by a player on the show floor. I will be sending that back to people at SOE so that they can put that up on the office TVs and maybe, print some posters to put around the office, because those things, I mean, that's kind of hilarious, because you could see right when the show floor opened, we started the interview shortly before, and then you went and died. I mean, that's going to be a little embarrassing.
Yeah, that's the headline. Combat designer dies to brand new player in game. That's fantastic.
But it shows you how open the game is, right? It must be a real challenge to set up these demos and to show off the game when so much of the game is based on systems interacting rather than points to go along.
Well, and it just goes to show if you can't yell at someone and tell them you're friendly, they're just going to punch you as well. So yeah, no, it's fun to demo a dynamic game, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was really fun to see the crafting system and how you could make stuff, and really to have a new player like myself who's not really experienced in the survival genre, to be able to know that, okay, I can go in there, and even if I'm not lucky enough to get an axe right away or a crowbar or anything like that, I can figure out a way to try and survive and maybe make something out of some scrap that I've found to be able to not die at the first person with a gun.
Sure, yeah, and that's the big thing for us is there is a consequence for attacking a new player. I mean, if they happen to have a bow, I don't care how big your gun is. You get shot in the face with an arrow, you could die. So hopefully that'll help the situation some.
Awesome. So, are you talking yet about sort of the time frame about when we're going to be able to get into the game, and even how long are you looking at until launch?
So we're heading into early access right now. We are getting a lot of the data metrics and the not shiny stuff. Everyone's like, launch the game, it looks great. It's like, well, the non-shiny things need to be fixed too. So we've got a couple more things. We'll be heading to early access on Steam, $20, and the launch will be free to play. But we don't have an exact time frame on that yet. A lot of this is developing with the community, so it's going to depend a lot on what players would like to see by launch and what we find we need to really fix during early access.
And do you have a time frame for early access yet?
It's coming up. I'm not going to use the word everyone hates, but we're getting there.
So soon, trademarked? Yeah.
You said it. I didn't. Reddit can't yell at me now. That was you.
You can yell at me. Thanks so much for spending the time. It was great to really learn more about the game. I hadn't seen that much, and I'm really excited to see more.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for coming by.
Awesome. Thanks.